Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Brian. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box. I'll get to it as soon as I can, and for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. It'll be pretty much any type of video, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, video game playthrough, commentary, reaction, whatever the case, and again, I'll get to it as soon as I can. But this is for the Michael Jackson, I guess you'd call it documentary, called This Is It. Came out in 2009, which I guess was kind of helped put together by Kenny Ortega, which he was a dance choreographer, but also the director of Hocus Pocus, with Bette Midler and such in the 90s. So I didn't realize like the guy who did Hocus Pocus worked on this. So the deal with this is Michael Jackson was ready to do a concert. And I think he was going to go like the last bit of rehearsals in London or somewhere, and then it was going to start this big comeback tour. But sadly, Michael Jackson passed away, died over very weird circumstances, which that's a whole other thing to get into about his death and the doctor, and that's a whole other thing. Now, I knew of this, but I never watched it because it's a bit hard to watch Michael Jackson stuff. Not for the reasons people may think, though. It's because, which I gotta dive into this before I get to this. Michael Jackson I grew up with. Loved his music. Still love his music. Smooth Criminal, Man in the Mirror. I remember watching Moonwalker a lot when I was a kid. Because, in particular, I loved the music videos in the first half. Whether it be Bad or Smooth Criminal. Well, that was later, but Bad and Speed Demon and those stuff. Leave me alone. And then you have Moonwalker later on. You got Joe Pesci as your villain. You got a guy turned to a damn spaceship, which is a bit weird. And then a Transformer robot with 80 special effects. I'm like, okay, this is pretty weird, but kind of neat in a weird way. And enjoyed his music throughout. And then the allegations happened with, kids. I remember believing it. Believing it because I'm more naive back to the day. I'm like, it's on the radio. They can't be lying. They have to be telling the truth. They have to know, right? Of course, we know how much media has lied to the public again and again and again. I'm on the far other end of that. And this always gets into a touchy subject when I bring this up. Because there are people that get mad at me when I say this. I don't think Michael Jackson did what he was accused of. I don't. People get mad at me, they go blah 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 blah, but I'm like, there's other stuff that seems a bit weird in terms of, yes, it was weird that he had the Neverland Ranch. Yes, it was weird that he had kids over. I think that was dumb. I think of it more of a psychosis of he didn't have a childhood, so he thought of himself as a big kid. He just wanted to hang out. But maybe some would say that's naive of me to think that way, but I just think he had that mentality. Because he didn't have a childhood when he grew up. Does his dad want him to just work, work, work? And there's just multiple things where, kids said he had this type of dick, but he didn't. And all the descriptions were wrong. The things that people said. Oh, he took me here when this place was here, but the place had not been built yet. Oh, he had me in this city at this time. When you looked at the time and the date, Michael Jackson was actually in another city, in another place, very, very far away. Or, oh, I cheered when Michael Jackson died. But then later, oh yeah, I didn't find out he did that till after he died. Well, what, you cheered because you hated his music, or you cheered because you thought he did other stuff? But if you thought he did this other stuff, you didn't think that he did it to your kid, but then, like, why is your story changing? Or the one guy's like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson did all this, but then if you look it up, the kid was going on with one of Michael Jackson's relatives, and he wanted to get married on the Neverland Ranch. So wait a minute, Michael did all this stuff to you, but you later, years later in life, went out with one of his, I forget if it was his niece or so, but you want to get married on Neverland Ranch at this place that's, it's not like you find a Holocaust survivor that says, I want to get married at, you know, not Spets, you know, let's go to Germany and get married. I don't see any Jewish people going, hey, you want to get married, honey? Let's go to the, where's that training camp? Where was that camp at over there? Yeah, they train to be how to be a Nazi. Let's say how to be a dragon, right? Right over there in Germany? Let's go over there. Let's get married, honey. No, that doesn't really happen. At least to me. At least so far that I know. And that Leaving Neverland documentary, there's just so many things that just don't track. There's certain things that just, you know, doesn't work for me, brother. But that's my thoughts. People disagree vehemently. I'm not here to get in an argument about that. But as for this, it was interesting to watch. Because, okay, it was interesting, but I did not love it. It was nice to see once, I would never see again. Great to hear Michael Jackson's music. I think his music is fantastic. It's great to see the rehearsals. You could tell that he had a wonderful ability of dancing, where he really wanted to get these moves right. That's why it's hard, but it's hard to call it a documentary because it's just a bunch of rehearsals stitched together and pieced together. I know Michael Jackson's family was against this because it felt like, oh, you're just using this to cash in on Michael Jackson's name and Michael Jackson's death. And not just the family, but a lot of fans were against it. So this film did not do as well at the box office as the studio hoped. Now, it might have made him some money overseas, though. So if it made a profit, I think it made some money overseas. But in the U.S., it didn't do that well. Because again, there was a lot of people going, oh, you didn't know Michael Jackson's death, and you're cashing in on his death, and he never said he wanted this footage out, and which may be true. Maybe MJ would not have wanted this footage out in terms of if he's a perfectionist and he's kind of like, oh, well, let's stop, do. But there's nothing bad in it. It's literally just rehearsal footage kind of stitched together. And I get it where if there's any way to see what his last concert would have been, it's this. So you see him doing songs like, wanna be starting something, or Jam, or Smooth Criminal, Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean. It ends with Man in the Mirror. It's nice to see what that final concert would have been like. At least the general sense of it. And I guess throughout the concert there'd be little videos put in Like there's a bit where Michael Jackson was in green screen, and for Smooth Criminal, he would have been in like a Humphrey Bogart movie, being chased and shot at. For They Don't Care About Us, there'd be dancers, but they multiply with green screen, so like it's like an army of dancers moving in conjunction with each other. Thriller, there's monsters and mummies looking at the camera, and I guess that part would have been 3D. Which I don't know how this would work in a concert. Would it be? Just to be honest, I don't go to concerts, so I'm very. Other than there was an outside like concert, but there's like a bunch of bands around, and honestly, it hurt my ears so much I never went to a concert again. So I other than that, I never went to a concert. Because I just never really cared about concerts. Maybe this is one of those things where I never cared about a concert because, okay, I have a music video where you get to see them dance, like Smooth Criminal in the middle of Moonwalker, or, because when I hear the music, I prefer the music on the CD or the cassette better because it's fine tuning, it's better sound quality. Concert to me, it's only going to be as good as it can be, at least for my taste. And to physically be there with everybody around, bouncing around you, fuck that shit. And probably no one has deodorant. Well, that's not fair to say. You may have deodorant. I would have deodorant, but there may be other people that don't. But I guess for concerts, do they show like video footage? Is it like from here? Would everybody be given a 3D glasses? If you go to a concert, how many fucking 3D glasses are you giving out? So I mean, I don't know how that all ties in with the video that they were shooting and then a concert. Again, that shows how dumb I am in terms of concerts and how they work. But I mean, it was interesting to see these possibilities of doing different stuff that's ambitious. I did Michael Jackson being in a black and white Humphrey Bogart movie for Smooth Criminal. I did him for Thriller. There's like all these monsters and ghosts going towards the camera. And then there's like giant like Black Widow spider. And I guess, and they show a bit of rehearsal footage, there'd be an actual practical giant Black Widow spider come out. And then it would open and Michael Jackson comes out of it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I guess they show the footage as going towards, and then Michael Jackson comes out. Okay, that's a bit interesting. And I think a lot of this, the rehearsal took place at the Staples Center in the Forum, those two places in California. So I would say like I liked it for hearing the music, loving the music. Of course, Michael Jackson, as he even mentions, to save his voice and conserve his voice, conserve his throat, because if he's belting it out during this, he may screw it up before he even gets on the tour. Especially for however long these rehearsal process lasts. So you're not going to see Michael Jackson as 100%. Because he's not there to give 100%. He's there just for rehearsals, get the timing, the movements. So there's stuff to like and stuff interesting to watch, but that's why it's hard to call it a documentary, because there's barely anyone talk. Like, you don't get a lot of insight. And that's what was disappointing. You don't really get a lot of insight. You get a few people who, I'm here to audition to be one of the dancers. And then once in a while you hear Michael Jackson go, okay, wait, let's time it this way. Wait for, let's let it sizzle, let it calm down a bit, and then... But he's never yelling, he's never being judgmental, he's never being a prick. He's like, wait, let's... And that's a couple times. but you don't really get a lot of insight. Like, it would have been nice to have people go, oh yeah, he was really doing this. Like, interviews of how Michael Jackson was on this day, or how he was during this time in his life, or any conversations you had, or how was he when he wasn't on stage, or how did the process begin with. But did MJ come up with the idea of the 3D thriller thing, or the giant spider, and people being interviewed in retrospect of their thoughts of MJ and how was he on during this time period. And this, again, there's not really any insight, and so all you're doing is just watching a series of dress rehearsals for about an hour and 50 minutes. Now, again, is it interesting? Sure. Like I said before, you get to see a full, this is what the concert more or less would have been, except without the finesse, because it's still a rehearsal. It definitely seemed ambitious, seemed like it'd be a pretty cool concert. But I just wish we had some interviews, wish we had insight, wish we had that stuff in this. I think that would have been, maybe that would have taken away of the focus. Like, come to the theater and experience what this concert would have been, and Sally will never have. And I'm guessing that was the idea behind this. And I can understand that. On the flip side, when you have the family and fans, hardcore fans going, no, this is, you just cashing in on the death of him, and you're using him to, yeah. It's not really the best of publicity, you know what I mean? And it's kind of this weird feeling of, well, I mean, if his family's so against it, and his even more hardcore fans are against it, should I be not minding it? But I would say, at the end of the day, it'd be a waste for this not to be seen. You know, they have the final days, weeks, however long these rehearsals were, to show how he was attending to detail, how his moves were spot on and his dances, how he really knew how to move his feet and his body movements. He was definitely one of those guys that had great fluidity with his movements and his dance moves. And to see, for some reason I kept reading up that, there was a lot of body doubles. I did not notice any body doubles, because most of the time when you're seeing him, you're seeing his face. So no, I personally did not notice any body doubles. Now, granted, I'm not the best at noticing that, although I did notice the Jean-Claude Van Damme body doubles and sudden death, which is one of the things that buzzed the shit out with me on that movie. Is, well, I do like the film. Like almost every other action piece, there's an up close up, but then there's a wide shot where it's a body double. And it just annoyed me on that movie. I didn't notice that in this. And if there's a couple I missed, it is, but I don't think it was as much as some people were touting. And again, as a fan, it was nice to at least finally see what his final output would have been, to ponder what his comeback. It probably would not have lasted long, because there'd still be people saying, you did this, you did that, and would have gotten mad that he had to try to make a comeback to begin with. Especially as the more woke times came upon us, and people make up these stories like, oh my god, they found footage, like they found pictures of Michael. I'm like, no, that was a newspaper that was literally used to doing tabloid type of journalism, where they also say probably, I don't know, Al Pacino had an alien baby. Doesn't mean he actually had one. and there was no evidence, and they literally had to retract it because otherwise they would have been sued because there was no evidence to the contrary of it. And they raided the guy multiple times, and they didn't find a damn thing. I mean, if they're able to find stuff on Harvey Weinstein and seem like they were more viable to do stuff on Bill Cosby and now P. Diddy, I think by now they would have found something more concrete on Michael Jackson, but they haven't. Go figure. But, take that for what you will. So overall, I didn't mind this. Like I said, I wish it was more of an actual insightful documentary and stuff, but it was still nice to see a glimpse of what could have been, and it's just too bad. It's crazy looking back that it's been 16 years since he's passed away. I mean, this is 2009. That's around the time he passed away, so it's been a long time. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys in the next one. Take care for now. Bye-bye.